Hello and welcome to this week's Tip Tuesday.
Yes, and today we're going to be sowing some Echeveria seeds. So we had someone asking the process of sowing our Echeveria seeds, so we thought we got some here, so let's give it a go. But before we go any further, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification button as well, and when we upload future videos, you'll get notified and you can watch them at your own leisure. So make sure you do that. All right, so we're going to be sowing our Echeveria seed, and the variety that I've picked today is Agavoides ebony. So we've got some seed there. We've got some other seed here as well. We're pretty successful. I've also got one that we've crossed, and I'm going to keep that a bit of a secret. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will work and it'll germinate, and we'll get hopefully a nice hybrid.
Fingers crossed for the cross.
That's it. Okay. All right. So the mix the seed raising mix that I use for the Echeveria is the same recipe that I use for the lithops. So I use 3 parts of crushed granite. So I'll bring this around here. So yeah, I use 3 parts of crushed granite, 3 parts of zeolite, and then I use 4 parts of a potting mix. So I've actually screed these down to a smaller size, so you want it quite fine. So I just use some mouse and snake mesh, which is perfect, so it gets rid of all those chunky bits of bark and coir and all that sort of stuff, or chunky bits of granite and zeolite there. So yeah, really important to make sure that it's fairly fine. And usually with growing like lithops, you want to use a lot less organic, so less potting mix and more of your granite and your zeolite. But because they're seed, we want to put a little bit more potting mix in there, just to try and absorb a bit more moisture and hold it for a bit longer while they're trying to establish. So I've got that there, so I thought I'd separate it all to show you what they look like. And I'm just gonna mix it, so you can use your hands, or you can use a trowel or shovel. If you've got like a compost tumbler, they're perfect. We actually use that for our potting mix when we're mixing our zeolite into it, but also our slow release fertilizer. So they're really a great little investment to have. All right, so that's pretty good there, and that's what the blend looks like after we've mixed it there. So you can see there's a lot of gritty mix in there, and that will help for good drainage, but also there's enough potting mix in there to actually hold that moisture for these seedlings. So I'm going to use a seedling tray, and also very important, if you like to make sure that your plants are labeled, grab a label and a marker as well. You can use a pencil, that's fine. And then I'm just gonna put this mix into this tray. I'm doing that. It's very exciting. All right, we're almost there. That will probably do there. So we'll get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. So just try and smooth it out as best as you can. Get rid of any little lumps and bumps on there. And that's beautiful. That's right to go. So it's always important to, if you're going to be doing seed, to sterilize your mix. So you can, if it's only a small little bit of mix or small amount of seed that you're doing, you can actually put that into like a bowl, and you can microwave that. You can microwave it for a little bit, just to get rid of any bacteria or any pathogens or anything that's hiding in there. Or if you've got a little bit more, or you just don't want to put it in the microwave, you can just use boiling water. That works, and that'll help sterilize the mix as well. So that works perfectly. I also like to, once I've sowed the seed, I like to just put finely mist a fungicide. So I use mancozeb, because mancozeb is very good for damping off. So it can be very susceptible, young seedlings, to suffer from damping off, which is it just rots, and it can actually wipe out your whole lot of seed there. So I just use that as a preventative, and once they pop up, then I'll give them another hit, and I'll probably give them another couple hits after that, and then usually they're pretty good to go after that. So that's a good tip there, because that's the last thing you want, is damping off, and it can ruin all all your seed there. So here we go. Very important when you're trying to get your seed out of your seed pods to make sure that you don't have any other debris that falls into your bag, or your sandwich bag here, or your brown paper bag. If you do have, I'd recommend getting it out, and the most easiest way is just use some tweezers. That's quite easy there. So all I'm going to do is just put my seed. It's very important to do it on a still day, or you can do it inside, because the seed is so fine. Get it all out of there. It's so fine, it's like sand. So I think we got that all out there. So I'm just going to tap it into the corner there, and you'll see just in that corner there, that's all your seed.
That's finer than sand. That's like,
well, probably is finer than
tiny
sand, but yeah, that's probably, several hundred seed there, probably even more. So yeah, so you can use a bit of sand in there if you want to just help distribute it evenly. Sometimes I'll do that, particularly with my lithops seed, but today I'm just gonna give them a little tap, and I'm just gonna spread it around.
Oh, I thought you were gonna sprinkle like salt and pepper.
No, because sometimes you just get the seed stuck to your fingers.
Wow, okay.
So I just do a little tap. You're probably not going to really see it because they're so fine. Give it a tap there.
So if you've got like hundreds of seeds there, obviously you're going to have to thin it out at some point, or you just let them go crazy?
I just kind of let them go crazy, and then when they're big enough, then I will prick them out and I will put them into little cell trays. So we'll just get that little bit of seed out there. And the cell trays are just these guys here. So they're individual cells, and that way they're not competing with one another. They've got their own little bit of space to grow and take off there. And that's it then, really. So if your mix isn't already wet from if you've sterilized it using hot water, so if you are using hot water, make sure it cools down first before you apply your seed, just in case it destroys the seed.
Cook your plants.
Yeah, that's right. And so if you have done it just before you're about to sow your seed, well, you don't really need to mist the mix, because it should already be moist. So you just put the seed just on top. That's fine there. Then I give it a really fine mist with some mancozeb. I'm not going to do it now because I have to mix it. And yeah, then all I do then is I just use a plastic container like this. I can actually fit 2 of these trays right next to each other. You can use like Glad Wrap or Cling Wrap. That works really good too. But I just tend to find that this is just easier, because once you get a little bit excited and you peel back the plastic, sometimes it can be a bit hard to get a nice seal over there to help try and increase some humidity in there. Whereas with it, I just put the lid on top, clip it, bang, away it goes. So all I do, is I'll just put it in here like this. I'll put some water in the bottom of the tray, in the crate, and that'll help allow the mix here to absorb the water from the bottom. So it'll be like a capillary style of irrigation there. It'll take it up, wet the whole soil and also the seed, and then I'll put this lid on. I won't, if I'm expecting a bit of wind and they're in a bit of a windy area, I will clamp it down, and then you start getting a build-up of condensation, and that'll help increase the humidity. So don't put this out in full sun. I just put it underneath a bench. You can also put it in like a shady spot as well, and it can take about 2 to 3 weeks, and you start noticing really fine little green pinheads. And if you start seeing that, well, then you've been successful with your seed, pollinating them to harvesting your seed and then sowing them. So, and that's it really. So once I'm pretty happy with the germination rate, I'll actually start to take this off. I'll just crack it open just a little bit, leave the lid on like that, so you can allow some fresh air getting into it. And then after a little while, a few weeks after that, I'll actually start to make a bigger gap,
so that's what this one down here is, yeah?
And then to a point where I won't even have this on top. So I will still keep it under the benches, because they're really fragile and really sensitive to direct sunlight. So you want to make sure that you still protect them. Then all I would do then is maintenance with watering, is you just water the crate to a certain level, enough that it actually sits over the seedling tray a little bit and allows the potting mix to absorb that moisture then. And by doing that, by putting water directly into the container then, as opposed to, you know, watering on top, I'm not disturbing the seed or the little plants that have germinated. Yeah, and that's really important there. You'll create less stress and less damage to the plants.
Sorry, I'm just remembering back. Do you remember when we we used to have them outside that time when we were just starting, and then it started pouring rain, and all the leaves and all the seedlings and everything just washed out of the out of the trays.
Always learn, trial and error, and learn from mistakes.
Oh, that was devastating.
Yeah, that's pretty much the process for these guys there, and then very important to label it. So yeah, it'll be Echeveria agavoides ebony, and away it goes. So yeah, around a few weeks this time of the year. So we're in late spring now, so only a few weeks, and you should start to notice some seedlings germinate, which is really exciting then. So yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please let us know. I'll get to them as quickly as possible. Hopefully you've been enjoying the little process that we're doing with Echeveria and how to grow them from seed, and we'll also happy to give you guys some updates on how these guys go. So yeah, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy getting out there in the gardens. It's still a fantastic time to be out there. Hopefully getting some rain as well to keep your succulents all nice and plump and happy. And we'll catch you the next Tip Tuesday. See yous.